Welcome to Pervy Sage Recap. Let's start the story.
In the city of villains, Zenus, which is off the map and the closest city to hell on earth, people and other kinds of beings can be seen. While these two goons were beating someone, one of them froze upon seeing Wace. As he walked, all eyes were on him. Wace looks to the side and notices a girl with aqua-colored hair and ears that point upward. He wondered if she was a high elf. High elf was the subspecies of elves unknown to the general public. Unlike normal elves, with green hair and long horizontal ears, high elves have beautiful light blue hair and upward pointing ears. This group of high elves can use all kinds of magic, and is said to have been extinct long ago. He had just read about them in an ancient book about high magic that he found in the capital, and thought it was just a fairy tale, and didn't expect they really existed. After questioning himself about what this one is doing in Zenith, he calls the attention of this ugly bald egg. Addressing him as a scumbag, he questioned about the business for the day, and when the bald egg saw it was Brother Wace, he flinched. Wace observed he had a lot on his hands today, and inquired if he managed to sell most of the product. The bald pig agreed and elaborated that slaves needed food and supervision, and buying too many at once was inefficient. He added that a short time ago, all the inhabitants of the mansion on the hill were killed. Wace could remember those incidents and realized it was his fault. That day when he was craving his favorite fried chicken, this crying monkey told him he couldn't make deep fried chicken without his boss around. He revealed that his boss was taken by the men from the hill. Wace knew the owner was a rare good cook in Zenith and concluded that was the reason why he was attacked and became a slave for life. He grabbed the useless monkey and asked why he didn't help the owner, but the monkey, stuttering, told him he couldn't do anything. While Wace was frustrated because this was the only place he could get fried chicken in Zenith, the crying monkey told him to do something about it. Wace went to the hill, and after attacking the guards, he used his magic on the mansion owner. The mansion owner told him he couldn't get away with what he did, but Wace clarified that in Zenith there's no one to judge, no laws that exist. After that, he went to the fried chicken owner and released him. The owner thanked Wace for saving him and asked how he could repay him. In response, Wace told him to open the shop tomorrow. Wace forgot that in this mansion there were cells in the basement and a lot of slaves were in there. Back to the present, the bald pig told him that after the incident in the mansion, a lot of thieves came in and found the slaves. With such a large number of slaves, he couldn't handle it alone, so they split them up among different merchants. Wace understood the situation and looked at the girl. The bald pig managed to at least sell 4 this morning, but there is still one left. Beautiful elf girls have no problem finding a buyer, but this one is useless for him because her hair has a strange color and her ears are deformed. Wace assumes that it was the work of the mansion owner, and he thinks that the mansion owner was using this kid for his experiments. He knew this kid was worth millions of zeniths, but for a pig like this merchant with no education, he was certain he wouldn't know of her existence or value. The merchant planned on throwing the girl out if he couldn't sell her, and laughed after saying she might become happier if the wild dogs ate her. However, he was shocked when Wace asked about her price. The bald egg asked if he planned on buying her and said he could get something better because this piece of trash wouldn't be useful to him. Knowing how valuable this girl was, Wace almost fainted after hearing this girl was just a piece of trash. He patted the pig's shoulder and said that he just always wanted to help him in his business. The pig was touched and very happy that he would take the leftovers, and even though this kid's price was 250 zeniths, he would give it to him for 20 zeniths since they were brothers. Wace paid him 300 zeniths, making the pig happier, and said he was the best brother for always helping him. Wace told him to stop flattering him and take off the kid's chains. The pig follows as he says, and after releasing the girl, Wace notices that she has no reaction, even though she is already freed. He wondered what she went through to make her consciousness dead. He lowers his body and tells the girl they should go, but the girl still has no reaction, which makes him release a heavy sigh. He extended his hand to the girl and told her they would take a walk. While the pig thanks him for purchasing, Wace realizes that even though he took this girl without thinking, he had no idea about parenting. Being a father for the first time is like walking blind in the dark. A while later, at Wace's home, he tried to call the girl by a different name, but after seeing she still had no reaction, he became irritated and asked what name she liked. He asked if she couldn't talk or just didn't want to. Still, the girl has no reaction, which makes him wonder if she has no understanding of his words. He planned on teaching her to walk first, and seeing that she didn't say anything at all, he concluded that she might have been a slave since she was born. Wace wasn't a good person because all he knew was to destroy and kill. He doesn't care if anything happens to others because he believes no one can make everyone happy. However, it bothers him that this thing happened. He planned on raising this child as his daughter, not a slave. But before he could do that, he must make her conscious first. He suddenly had an idea that the first word she said would be a commemorative name. He lowered his body and patted the kid. He told her that from now on he was her dad. He pointed his finger and told her he was dad and she was his daughter. Nevertheless, the kid still has no reaction, which makes him freeze and wonder what to do with that. Weiss became a dad. Night came, and when he saw that the bed was wet, he realized the road ahead would be tough. Seeing how peacefully she slept, Weiss was speechless and realized it was his fault for forgetting to take her to the bathroom before bed. So far, he had managed most things with no problems, but since he had bought the girl without thinking, he realized it was as if he had gone to an unexplored lower dungeon without bringing any equipment. He put her on a chair and decided to think of her name for later. Since she smelled awful, they would take a bath. Weiss splashed her with hot water, and upon seeing her hair covering her face, he laughed while saying she looked like a ghost. Observing how many flies, leaves, rats, and other things came out of her hair, he asked if this was her first time bathing. He played with hair by turning it into ice, cats, and waves, and then chuckled. He expected her to smile, but seeing that there was still no reaction, he concluded it would be a long road. After taking a bath, his loud scream can be heard outside as he kneels on the floor. He cursed and realized he had no clothes for her. He removed one of his window curtains and put it on her. He looks at her and thinks it will be okay for now. He decided that he would buy something appropriate first thing in the morning. He lifted her and apologized for not having clothes for her. They go upstairs, and upon entering a room, he tells her that she will sleep in this soft bed from today. They lay on the bed, and he mumbled how tired and sleepy he was. He gets up upon realizing he didn't give her anything to eat. He went downstairs and looked for food, but he only had piles of alcohol and no food except for dry bread, since she had no appropriate clothes. He didn't want to bring her outside to eat while wearing a curtain. After preparing a jerky and bread for her, he slowly put her in a chair. Observing it would be hard for her to reach the food, he tried to find something to add to her chair, but after finding a box, he was surprised to see her already munching the food and realized she was really hungry. He apologized and assumed she never ate well. After saying he would get something better to eat later, he wondered what kind of life she had led. The other day, after preparing things for a bath, some drinks, and putting away dangerous things, Weiss told her that Daddy would go shopping, so he would leave her alone for a moment. Even though he says that he thinks she doesn't understand him at all, he has taken care of everything in advance by softening magic on the floor and putting barriers in the kitchen and stairs to prevent intruders from coming. Still, it was hard for him to leave a child alone, but he had no other choice. He went outside and closed the door. Before leaving, he cast magic that prohibits the entrance from the outside. He swiftly ran and shouted he would be right back. He arrived at the clothing store, and upon opening the door, he shouted he needed help. The lady asked what he needed, and upon realizing it was Weiss, she crossed her arms and inquired if he needed something from her. Her eyes widened when Weiss said he came to buy girls' clothes. She wondered if he kidnapped someone. But Weiss thought she was rude and clarified he didn't kidnap anyone, but bought a slave elf girl that couldn't sell. The lady wondered if he was that desperate and asked if he had a thing for little girls. Weiss irritably gritted his teeth and told her it was just a whim. He tried to grab something from his pocket and said the girl didn't have any clothes, and he didn't have any idea about children's clothes. He slammed the coin on the table and stated he wanted her to pick an outfit for him. The lady was shocked at the money he showed and asked if he was planning on buying all of their clothes. Weiss was confused and asked if the woman's clothing wasn't expensive. The lady agreed that they couldn't buy a silver coin, but with his 5 gold coins, he could buy as many outfits as he liked. She knew he was a wise man but didn't expect him to know little about this world. She asked how old the elf was, and he pointed to a statue, saying she was about this size. The lady got it and told him she would prepare it and give it to him. Weiss thanked her and said goodbye. The lady was glad they would close early today and was so excited to meet the little elf. After a while, Weiss returns home and upon opening the door, he asks if she has been a good girl, but he is frozen after seeing her remain in her position. He scratches his head and thinks she has never moved since he left. He put the things he had bought on the table and told her to wait for a moment because he would prepare something. Even though he doesn't cook, he is certain he can do it because he is the kind of guy who can make anything. After cooking, he placed it on a table and showed her a spoon. He informed her that they use utensils like this spoon when eating, and as he scooped some soup, he told her this is how it is used. He tried to feed her, but she still had no reaction. He waited for a second until she slowly moved her face towards the spoon, and when she finally took the food, his eyes sparked in surprise, and he eventually smiled. He told her to eat more and said she was doing very good. The other day, someone called Weiss outside, saying it was Holo. Weiss opened the door and was amazed to see a bulk of clothing. Holo asked permission to come in and said she would take back clothes that wouldn't fit on the little elf. Upon seeing the elf, she couldn't help but be astonished at how adorable the little elf was and realized it was why Weiss developed a fondness for her. She suddenly notices something different from her, because elves usually have green hair, but this little elf has blue hair and pointy ears. Weiss agreed that she was rare and said that was the reason why he bought her. When Holo was about to try on the clothes for the little girl, Weiss went into his room and realized that Holo, who held a special position in the elf kingdom, didn't recognize that this little girl was a high elf. Based on what he sees in Holo's actions, she doesn't even know high elves exist. Knowing high elves should have been extinct, he concluded they were hiding in the elven kingdom and on their way to Zinnis. But if his conclusion was right, he wondered where in the world this little elf came from. Holo told him he could come in now, and when he did, he was shocked to see the elf's new appearance, as if she were a different person. Her transformation exceeded his expectations, and he thanked Holo for that. Holo winked at him, saying he was welcome and informing him that she already charged enough for the clothing. She also prepared underwear and pajamas for the little elf, so she told him to check them out. Before leaving, she told him he could ask her any time and said it was interesting that he was raising an elf girl. Weiss appreciated her kindness, and they bid goodbye. He looked at the little girl and told her it was bedtime. After putting cute pajamas on her, he thought she was adorable. When he woke up, he noticed the little girl grabbing his shirt. Seeing how adorable she was, he couldn't help but stay. He covered her with a blanket and thought that this little change was a big step. After mumbling that today would be a good day, he wondered if her action meant she allowed him to enter her heart. He was certain the day was near when they could properly communicate. However, it wasn't the case because when they got up and he told her his name, the little elf still had no reaction. He stood up and sulked near the table. He decided that before he taught her to start talking, he must resolve her no-reaction state first to make progress. As he made some tea and looked at her, he wondered what to do and asked why she was different. He wondered what was running in her mind, but he didn't know what a child thought. He sat on the chair and realized he also had his childhood. He wondered what he was thinking back then. At a young age at school, after he cast powerful magic, the professor was impressed because, at his age, he had already mastered such high magic. They added that some had already offered a place for him, and they were sure he would become a high official in the magic ministry. Weiss was considered an extraordinary genius with no problem in childhood and had a guaranteed future. He came from a prominent family in the capital. He received love from his parents like everyone else, and he thought it was a happy family. But in the end, he couldn't stand being forced into a life path, so he ran away from the capital. His childhood memories are blurred. Because of the intense experiences and memories since he left, the most he can remember is until his school years. Still, like others, he couldn't remember how he learned to talk. Now that he thinks about it, he wonders how the guy who got a job at the Ministry of Magic is doing. They used to hang out during school days, and he has heard rumors that she's had unprecedented promotions, which is assistant to the director. The rest of the class considered her boring and did not understand jokes, but he always felt comfortable with her for some reason. He knew that if she took off her awful glasses, she might be popular because her appearance was quite good. He suddenly woke up from a nap, and when he stood up, he realized he had fallen asleep and saw that it was already dark outside. He picks up the adorable girl and puts her in her bed, thinking that her indifference may not be something he can resolve just with knowledge. After he wondered if he should rely on anyone, he went to Holo the other day and asked how he could make a child happy. Holo remembered that the little elf indeed looked like a doll when she dressed her, but she had just been free from slavery, so it was natural that she wasn't lively because no slaves are full of energy. Weiss agreed with her, but insisted that having no reaction was a bit extreme. Holo nodded, revealing that she doesn't have experience as a mother, so she doesn't know about it either. She suddenly got an idea to go to Loret at the tavern, because he had experience raising 5 children. Thinking of going there makes her crave drinks. It didn't take time before they arrived at the tavern, and as they drank, Loret told them that the little elf was currently lacking love and was desperate in this world, so he advised Weiss to give her love that she had lost. Thinking that the old man talks like a priest, Weiss sighed heavily before asking for more salt. The salt was very delicious, so Holo couldn't help but ask about the ingredient. Loret responded that it was a trade secret and told Weiss he didn't need to think so much, since he decided to raise the little elf because he felt something for her. All he needed to do was to treat her from the heart. Weiss was confused about what he said, so Holo tapped him on the back and agreed with Loret, stating that he must give the little elf some love. Since he doesn't have many qualities, Holo thinks it is best for him to be accompanied by an elf girl. We stood up, telling them he would go now. Holo was surprised to hear he was already leaving, but when Weiss told Lorit to give her more drinks, she thanked him so much. At home, recalling the advice from Lorit, Weiss prepared a special dessert and asked the little elf if she wanted him to feed her. He tried to feed her, and when she ate, he was so happy. As he complimented her, he patted her head like a dog whenever he had a chance, because he believed that physical touch was a good way to convey love. Even though the little elf has no reaction, he keeps talking when they take a bath, before they eat, and he teaches her to hold the spoon and how to eat because he thinks that the most important thing is spending time together. When she successfully ate on her own, he lifted her and swung her in the air as he complimented her on a great job. He could remember the time when he was always praised as a child, had family dinners, and slept together in the same bed. This thing that his parents enjoyed doing, he also showed it to her. As he read a bedtime story, the little elf became sleepy, so he lay her on the bed and covered her with a blanket. With a smile on his face as he looked at the little elf, he could recall that he had managed to survive his life so far. Now he will become this child's father and mother. He was sure this time would be fine too and decided to give his all. The other day, bird chirping could be heard from the roof as Weiss considered what kind of cook he would do for the egg. He decided to cook a ham with egg but turned his head when he heard the little elf. He asked himself if she woke up by herself and was surprised because she had never tried to walk alone before. He patted her head and asked if something was wrong. He couldn't help but ask himself what was happening as he looked at her face. After cooking, he teaches her how to hold a fork, and as she eats, he tells her to keep going. Happy faces can be seen on both their faces. After she ate, they still can't have a conversation, but she is more active now. He can see her growing day by day, and he thinks her change is a mystery. However, as he looked at the child while trying to wipe her face, he wondered why he was so happy that she was now more aware. After that, he went to the tavern, and after opening the door, he shouted that it was great news. Hearing how noisy he is makes Holo ask what is going on. He slammed the table and told Holo to listen, saying that the little elf ate by herself. But hearing her only response made him tell her to be surprised at least. Holo was even more surprised by his outfit, so he told her that his clothes had become dirty because he was doing chores that morning. He continued telling her that the little elf was incredible because not only did she eat, but she also walked by herself and sat down in the chair. Still Holo was speechless. Lorit told him it was great news as he handed him a drink. Weiss agreed and stated he never thought the day would come when the little elf could eat by herself. Lorit chuckled and responded that his love for her had made it possible. Weiss was confused about love because he didn't do anything special. Lorit looked at him, and he could see by Weiss's look that he had really become a father figure. Weiss agreed and said he decided to raise the little elf as his daughter. Back at home, Weiss was teaching the little elf how to pronounce the words, and when she did it, he hugged her and praised her for doing a great job. He mumbled about how great her memory was and told her they should keep going. He taught her 1 to 2 syllables, and when they were on words that started with the letter R, he noticed she couldn't pronounce the R word. So he picked her up and told there was no rush, because what she showed today was more than enough. Now that they were done with today's lesson, he told her it was time to eat, but he was surprised when she slowly got off his hand, went to the nearby chair and sat. He froze momentarily before laughing. He fixed his sleeves and told her he would prepare something incredibly delicious. As he cooks, he realizes elves are indeed a much more intelligent race than humans, and high elves are even smarter because they are a superior race. After a while, the little elf pointed at the book and said it was a cat holding a kettle. Weiss was surprised that she could already read as she kept pointing to different animals and saying their names. He narrated that his plan was to name the little elf after the first words she said in celebration, but it was harder than he thought it would be. Words like core or o are definitely out of the question. Even meaningful words are still tricky. She could pronounce the hippopotamus, elephant, and other animals, but when she came to camel, she pronounced it as cameo. He chuckled and thought it was close. Seeing how she loves animals, they went to this ugly turtle and asked for the animal books. Holding onto her father as she looks at the ugly turtle, she pronounces the animals as canamus. Seeing the child's reaction made the ugly turtle assume that she really liked the animal books, but told them that the only available book was placed on the counter, and there were no animal books there. Weiss notices the pile of books and asks if there are no animal books there. The vendor told him to come back later because his back was hurt, so he couldn't even organize his things and couldn't find anything in that mess. Weiss got an idea, so he tried to help him by using magic to arrange his things. Seeing the books were flying, the little elf shouted, "Bird, In an instant, the books fell organized behind the ugly turtle, which amazed him and made him ask what magic that was. Wace told him it was a secret and informed him he could search now. Leaving the ugly turtle no choice, he asked what books they needed. After a while, the little elf was humming as she held a book. Wace was glad they found one, and told her he would read it to her when they went to bed, while the little elf was climbing the chair to read her book. Wace planned on cooking stew for dinner. Seeing the book made the little elf so happy, and while Wace was cooking, he heard her say Lily. He froze momentarily before turning his head. The elf read what was written on the cover, which was Lily. Wace was so glad she pronounced the letter L and approached her. He also read the book cover and informed her that Lily is the author's name. The elf repeated, Lily, which made him happy, thinking it was a lucky guess. However, he stopped when he realized something about Lily. He thought it wasn't a bad name, so he told her that from now on, her name would be Lily. He lifted her up and stated that she was now Lily Fenberg, his daughter. That's how the little elf got her name. Gradually, Lily began to absorb everything with astonishing speed, and he thought that it was definitely the intellect of a high elf. When they went to the pub, Lily cheerfully greeted them. Good morning. And the eye patch man also greeted her, making Wace warn the eye patch man not to touch her with his dirty hands. With her smile, Lily became the only healing character in this world, like the end of the world in Zen's, and she became somewhat popular. Lily politely ordered juice and cookies for her, and for her dad she ordered him a bit of steak. Lorette thought Lily was really impressive, and Wace responded by saying that it was because she was his daughter. While he looked at his child, Wace realized she was growing day by day. A bright smile could be seen on Lily's face as Wace told her it was a beautiful day. She agreed, so he told her the son would surely love her too. Lily became embarrassed and touched her face, so he warned her to watch out and not let go of his hands. They cheerfully hummed on their way, and when they arrived at the clothing store, Lily quickly ran towards Holo and embraced her, saying Lily had arrived. Holo welcomed her and noticed how energetic she was. Wace apologized for coming frequently, but Holo told him it was fine, he was always welcome. Lily ran inside to see some clothes, so Wace reminded her about her promise not to buy anything that day. When Holo said she couldn't believe he had become a strict father, he frustratingly asked if she expected him to be a foolish father. He admitted he was strict, saying no more than one candy a day and no staying up late. He can't spoil Lily too much either because it wasn't good for her. As a father, he believes he is perfect, but Holo doubts it. He informs her he will be leaving Zen's next month, which shocks her, and she asks why so suddenly. As a father, Wace knew there were things he could not teach Lily, no matter how perfect he was. Lily cannot make friends in this town, because there are hardly any children who are not slaves. Aside from that, Zinnis has a really bad environment for raising kids. He wants to go back to the capital and send Lily to school. He has many acquaintances, and his alma mater is also there. Holo was shocked to learn he was from the capital, and asked why he came to a miserable place like Zen's. Wace could remember the past when there were insistent requirements in his path, but he told Holo that a lot happened, so he ran away from the Ministry of Magic. Holo asks what he did, but before he can answer, Lily approaches them with her cute face while holding a dress. He told her he couldn't buy it, reminding her that she wouldn't buy anything today. But when Lily made this sad, cute face, he shouted at Holo to shut up and take his money. Seeing his reaction made Holo doubt that it was a good idea for him to take care of Lily alone, and realized that it was a good idea to send Lily to school. After a while, at Wace's home, while Holo had clothes for Lily that were fit for the city, Lorette gave Wace alcohol and some salt to snack on. Wace thanked them and told them they helped him a lot. Holo told him to take care and said she felt uncomfortable when he was away because Zinnis was full of villains, but it now exists as a city because of him. Thinking of it made him mumble that he crushed everyone he didn't like. He wondered if she would be fine if Zinnis collapsed again, and told her that, if she found herself in trouble, she could call him. He didn't care what would happen to Zinnis, but he was willing to come if it was to help her. She blushed after hearing that and wondered if it was a declaration. However, Wace clarified that it was a thank you because if it weren't for her, Lily would still be naked. He told her to take care of herself, but before she could speak, Lily called her and thanked her for the clothes. She welcomed her with a big smile, telling her that she was sure the clothes would look great on her. The two then hopped in the car and left. These two wonderful friends. A few days later, Wace told his daughter that they wouldn't be riding the carriage anymore, because they were almost near the capital. He asked if she was tired of the long trip, but Lily wasn't, saying she had fun traveling with him. Wace told her they could already see the capital when they came out of the forest. So Lily got off from her dad's hand and tried to walk by herself. Wace told her to be careful, and when they got out of the forest, Lily was amazed at the sight. A huge wall surrounded the whole city, and a magic barrier from above covered the whole place. He told her it was the city he came from and asked if she could do what he told her. Lily responded that she would try her best, so Waste told her to remember to be well behaved when she got to the gate. If she was asked, she must answer she was an orphan in the past. He narrated that access to the capital is very strict. There is protective magic in the air, so one can only enter and exit through the north, south, east and west gates. Since he was from the capital, he shouldn't have any problems getting through, but the problem is Lily. As an elf, saying she's his real daughter doesn't make sense. If he says she's an orphan, they will probably ask for an orphanage certificate, but he must hide the fact that Lily was a slave. If it gets discovered, something terrible might happen, because slave trafficking is a serious crime in the capital. Still, he knew he had a chance and hoped Lily would behave well. When they arrived at the gate, Lily was astonished to see a real soldier, so she approached both of them. Waste tapped his head and apologized, saying they wanted to enter. The guard asked for the name, and when he said, Veas Feber, and the little girl is his daughter, the guard flinched, realizing his name sounded familiar. Weiss asked if the Ministry of Magic hadn't notified them of the search and told them to get in touch with the minister's line. They must tell them his name, and he was certain they would know who he was. They froze as they repeated Zion's name, so one of the soldiers quickly moved and told him he would check it out. Weiss looked at his daughter and said that Zillion was his friend, and the one who would let them in. Inside the gate, Lily wondered if Zillion was nice like Holo. Weiss recalled his friend before answering that she would be nice to Lily, well, as nice as a study subject. After a while, Lily fell asleep due to tiredness, and Weiss noticed that Zillion was taking a while to arrive. He looked at Lily and played with her face. He first poked her face and then pinned it. A while later, soldiers suddenly saluted when a person arrived. She approached Weiss, and upon seeing the child, she couldn't believe he would appear before her with his child, and asked if it was an attack on her. Weiss could observe that she still had the same humor and asked why she still wore those big, dark, boring glasses. Zillion, Floyd's assistant to the Minister of Magic, flinched after hearing that in the reception office of the Ministry of Magic. While Lily was sleeping, the two were talking. Weiss observed how luxurious the surroundings were and assumed the Ministry of Magic was making money. Zillion seriously told him they were not NGOs. Seeing her reaction made him mumble that neither of them had changed. Lily suddenly talked while sleeping, asking her dad for candy. Weiss almost spit his tea when Zillion inquired if she was his real daughter. Weiss denied it and told her to look at her ears. She noticed she was an elf and apologized for not seeing it properly. Lily begged her dad for just one candy, making Zillion look closer to her, and she stood up. Upon noticing something, she asked if she was a high elf. Weiss grinned, already expecting it from the spellbook nerd. Even if she didn't know he was a friend of elves, she would notice about Lily. Zillion wanted Lily to be taken to the lab immediately, but Weiss calmed her down because Lily might wake up. As she sat, he expressed how lucky he was to find Lily about a year ago. He raised her and returned to the capital so she could attend school. Lily is an orphan and couldn't smile for an entire year after everything she'd been through. He wants her to have a normal lifestyle and enjoy childhood things, like playing with friends and studying together. Considering that her life has been the worst so far, he wants her to be happy from now on. So, as her father, he asks Zillion for help. Zillion was speechless momentarily but still understood him. She told him that their alma mater, the magic school of the capital, offers an education of the highest quality, and she thinks that it's the best environment for a high elf's education. Weiss asked if she could enroll Lily next year, and Zillion responded that she would do what she could, even though she wasn't excited about it. Weiss thought it was a huge help and said he had 2 more requests. He wanted a safe house and was willing to pay whatever it took. He asked for bodyguards for Lily, saying that if anyone realizes the value of a high elf it could be dangerous. Zillion wanted to talk to the Ministry of Magic about the bodyguards and get good soldiers because she also doesn't want the world to know that high elves exist. Weiss doesn't like her idea because what he wants is bodyguards from her people. The fact that Lily is a high elf, he wants to keep it a secret just between the two of them. Zillion stood up, reminding him that the existence of a high elf is a national asset. Still, Weiss doesn't want to involve Lily in adult issues. Besides, it's hard for Lily to make friends if treated differently. He wants her to have a normal school life. Seeing Zillion sit and release a heavy sigh, Weiss mumbled that he had been a problem for her for a long time, so he apologized for that and told her he would give her a substantial reward. He knew she had a lot of difficulties because of her position. He will help her in her work, but only as a personal employee. Zillion agreed, and since she had a lot of issues that she couldn't bring to light, she would make him work hard. So she asked him to be prepared. She excitedly stood up and wanted to fulfill his first request, so she asked him to follow her. On their way, Weiss asked about the capital and noticed the changes in the city. He saw the banner of Gatron Magical Artifact Shop and asked if it had moved. Zillion reminded him it was the store from which he was banned when he felt the magic at all the products and turned them off. She had to apologize for that. Luxury magical artifacts are usually unique. They're imbued with magic and marked with the owner's name. That day, when he and Zillion were inside Gan's magical artifact shop, Weiss picked one of the artifacts, mumbling that turning a magical artifact into a luxury brand is questionable, thinking it was just a business owner's tactic. Seeing the owner near him, Zillion tried to shush him. Weiss noticed something and tried it. When Zillion felt the energy, she quickly approached him and asked what the meow he was doing, while the owner almost sunk to death. Weiss responded that he was just thinking of trying it out. Back to the present, Zillion reminded him that her father apologized to the owner and paid his debt before he graduated. Well, the artifact was worth 43 million zeniths, which was a 7-year salary for a public servant. Weiss thanked her wealthy family for helping him and recalled that he always ran around after class to complete missions for that debt. He appreciated her help. Zillion told him it was nothing and mumbled that he wouldn't have had to pay off the debt if he had married her. Weiss asked if she said something, but Zillion told him it was nothing and added that she was just impressed that he could pay off the debt while still being a student. Weiss laughed and boasted it was him. They arrived at the location, and seeing the house amazed Weiss. He asked how much it cost and concluded it was expensive because of the location. Zillion let him know that this place was owned by the Ministry of Magic and funded by taxes. Since no one uses it anymore, the rent was good. Weiss wondered if it was really okay to rent this luxurious house for a low price, but Zillion told him she would make him work like a dog and added that it was a future investment. Before they came in, Lily woke up and asked where they were. She ran inside and asked if it was her new house. Weiss was about to talk about him and Lily, but Sieg reminded him that Lily was an elf with congenital anomalies. Since she has subordinates living nearby, he doesn't have to worry about security. Lily cheerfully hugged a pillow, and seeing this made Zline ask if she had a mother. Weiss reminded her that Lily was an orphan, but Zline knew that and clarified that what she meant was Lily's true mother. She suggested having both parents around was better for a child's education. Weiss agreed with her, but he can do nothing because he doesn't have a wife or a girlfriend at the moment. Zline was stunned to hear that, so she gathered her courage and asked if she could be Lily's mother, knowing she wasn't that kind of person. Weiss asked what she was talking about, embarrassed. Zline told him loudly not to underestimate her because she wasn't the same as she was back in school. Seeing Zline tremble with mixed emotions, Weiss wondered if she really wanted to investigate high elves to that extent. He was impressed and realized that there was a race that was supposed to be extinct, so it was natural for her to get involved with the meow. This idiot couldn't see that Zline was into him. Anyway, he told her he understood how she felt but asked her not to push herself too hard. Being a mother means that she would be his wife and away with an ugly face uglier than a monkey. Zline looked at him and shouted she didn't have a boyfriend because of him. Weiss was confused after hearing that, so she trembled and didn't know what to reason. She shouted that it was his fault because she ended up working at the Ministry of Magic because of him. She pointed her finger and told him it was time for him to pay back all those years of debt. She approached Lily and introduced herself. Lily also introduced herself, but when she asked if she didn't want a mom, Weiss thought she was a weirdo and mumbled to himself that if she was just getting to know a child, she shouldn't ask those questions. However, he realized that he hadn't thought about a mother for Lily yet. Thinking Lily felt slightly lonely, he wondered if he should consider it. Zline suddenly asked Lily what she would say if she told her she was going to be her mother. Their eyes met, but Lily didn't know what to answer, so she quickly ran to her father and hugged his leg. She looked at Zline and said that she already had a dad. Weiss chuckled, and as he patted her head, he asked if Zline was scary, while Zline asked herself why and wondered what wrong she did. Weiss wanted to say it was because her attitude was scary. He chuckled and thought that she wouldn't be able to be a mom if she didn't understand this. The night came, and while Lily was sleeping, Weiss considered whether Lily wanted a mother. After a while, Weiss can be seen holding a supply list and informing Lily she would be going to study. She asked if she would go with Dad, but Weiss told her he already graduated after studying a lot, so he didn't need to go anymore. Playing with his hair, she mumbled that her dad was cool. He read the list and learned she needed one for magical support, a robe for defense, and a hat to control magical power. Zline noted that students with high skills can cast spells without a wand, and an advanced student must wear a hat to control their power. After reading those, Weiss sighed and thought that he better coordinate everything with Bitney if he is going to do this. He was not interested in the brand, but he knew they had a really nice design. They went outside and walked down the street. Waste told her to be careful not to get lost, and she excitedly answered that there were so many people. She saw a lot of bread, so Waste told her it was a bakery. She saw shoes, and Waste informed her it was a shoe store. When she saw one of the signages, Waste told her it was a clothing store. She excitedly walked towards the door, mumbling that Holo was inside, but Waste told her she wasn't there. Inside they were welcomed by this lady. While Lily was amazed at the clothes, the lady asked if they were looking for robes for school. Waste nodded, and Lily cheerfully introduced herself. The lady asked if she was excited about school. Lily answered yes and said she would study a lot so she could help her dad. Waste was touched by her words and thought Lily cared for him so much, as the lady told him Lily was a sweet daughter who loved her dad. A voice suddenly heard, saying to take their time to look around. The voice added that all their products are handmade by her because she is an expert wizard who even sews and finishes everything. The voice came from this old lady, the store manager. She chuckled and asked if he was Wace, inquiring when he returned. Wace was surprised and said that it was Esmeralda, his teacher. Esmeralda Eisenbarth was their teacher and was once called the most talented magician in the imperial capital. Wace asked if this was her business, and she chuckled before saying she started it for fun. However, she has been running it for 3 years and hasn't put her name on it. Wace was sure it would thrive, but Esmeralda reminded him it was just for fun for her, because if she wanted to make money, she would join Bitney. The lady could see that they knew each other, but Esmeralda told her that the man in front of them was the one who made her drop out of school. Still, seeing him now made her think it was time for a generational change. In the background, Lily was having trouble putting on clothes, so the lady chuckled upon seeing her. She approached her and taught her how to properly wear the robe. Esmeralda noticed Lily was a high elf and asked what he planned on doing. Wace wasn't surprised she would notice it because she had good perception. Esmeralda agreed and boasted that she hadn't lost her sharpness even though she stopped teaching. Wace revealed Lily was an orphan and he was raising her like his own daughter. He didn't have so many plans, but he wanted to give her the tools to live independently because he believed anyone would want their daughter to be happy. Esmeralda agreed with what he said and asked if Lily needed an exceptional robe to protect her. Wace said yes, but clarified that a robe shouldn't make that much of a difference. Esmeralda agreed if it was for commercial clothing and inquired if he wanted the best robe that suits a worthy high elf. Wace answered in the affirmative, saying he wants to give Lily the best robe in the imperial capital. Esmeralda liked his determination and suggested hunting a crystal dragon. It is the hardest one to hunt because it is a supreme dragon covered in crystal that absorbs magic, the mage killer. Meanwhile, Zline was forcing herself to smile in front of a mirror and then asked her servant, Emma, about her face. Emma told her lady that her face was majestic and distinguished. Yesterday, Zline asked Wace if Lily was scared of her face. Wace advised her to try relaxing and approaching Lily. He then asked if she could recommend a babysitter because he had to be out all day tomorrow for something. Zline presented herself, but Wace knew she was busy. Still, Zline insisted, saying she would take the day off and assured him that Lily would call her mom by nighttime. A while later, Wace rode the modified magic motorcycle he borrowed from Esmeralda. This motorcycle could shorten journeys that would normally take weeks to just a few hours, but it depends on the rider's power. After saying goodbye, Lily was teary-eyed while telling her dad she would be a good girl and asking if she couldn't go with him. Wace could hear a whisper from a devil advising him to take the child with him. On the other side, the voice of an angel warned him that it was a dragon hunt, so he couldn't take the kid. Wace responded that he was strong and could show Lily how cool he was, but the angel told him it was still dangerous for Lily. Wace became confused and tried to hold himself. Seeing his action made Zline ask if he wasn't supposed to leave already. After that, the scene returns to the present, where Zline is still forcing herself to smile while Lily is playing. Even though she accepts this task confidently, she still doesn't know what to do. She is aware that she isn't the type kids like and recalls that she was always scared the first years. As she thinks Lily might see her as terrifying, she observes that her facial muscles are starting to tense up. Lily suddenly walked to pick something and then back in front of her to draw something. She approached the kid and noticed how serious she was. Seeing that the drawing looked like a monster, she asks what she is drawing. When Lily was done, she showed it to Zline and said it was her. Zline looked at the drawing and thanked Lily for drawing her. However, she noticed Lily's tummy was growling. They went to a nearby restaurant and ordered some pancakes. Lily was drooling at the sight and cheerfully ate it. Zline was surprised upon hearing it was Lily's first time eating pancakes, so she asked if Lily had never been to a place like this. Lily responded that she had been to Uncle Let's shop in Holo. She really loved Holo because she was kind and was her dad's friend. Zline dropped the fork she was holding after hearing that and wondered if Holo was Weiss's ex-wife. To her relief, Lily revealed that Holo was the owner of a clothing store, and she was thankful to her because she now had clothes. After being a sigh of relief, she stated in her mind that she shouldn't dote for no reason. She asks where Holo's store is and where Lily lives. When Lily responds that it is Zenith, she is shocked because Zenith is the most brutal city in the whole world. Meanwhile, Whis continued on his journey to get the Crystal Dragon. The Crystal Dragon was about 10 long and lived in Gua Volcano. It's a great material for armor, like a tunic. According to Esmeralda, the longhorn parts have the property of concentrating energy, making them prime materials for wands as well. This motorcycle tire has a magic coating that is heat-resistant to the volcano. His mission difficulty was at the maximum level because the crystals that cover the dragon's body absorb magic and neutralize magical attacks, earning the dragon the title of the Mage Killer. However, he could still win if he injects more magic than the dragon can handle. Upon landing his eye on the Crystal Dragon, he quickly summoned a magic lance in a magic circle, and then threw it at the dragon. Realizing he used so much magic, he became worried that the dragon might be useless if it shredded into pieces. To his surprise, nothing happened. He wondered if the Crystal Dragon could absorb magic infinitely because he already injected enough magic to level an entire city. The dragon growled at him, so he ran to make distance. He picked some stones, and with accelerated magic, he threw them towards the dragon. Seeing that he managed to injure the dragon's tail, he wondered if physical attacks could actually hit the dragon. As the dragon flew in the air, he realized he couldn't defeat it using this method. A piece of stone fell, and when he catches it, he asks if this crystal shard is from the tail that got hit. It suddenly glowed brightly, and when it got back to normal, he was amazed at its absorption ability. He got an idea. He poured all his magic into this crystal shard, and when it was about to explode, he noticed no crystals in the dragon's mouth. So, he threw it directly at its mouth while shouting that he would get a shiny tunic for Lily. The dragon gulped down the crystal, and in a matter of seconds, a loud boom occurred. Whis returns to the city and goes to Esmeralda's shop. He threw the magic bag and informed Esmeralda that it had about 50 crystals. Esmeralda told him she didn't need that much, so he asked if she could buy the rest. Esmeralda didn't have that much money, so she advised him to take it to the financier because they always showcase magical dresses to promote the brand. Every year, they will pay whatever price he asks for a Crystal Dragon dress. Hearing the magical dress made him ask many questions, but Esmeralda simply told him that it was fashion as usual. Whis could only think of his dear daughter wearing fancy clothes. When he returned home, Lily was so happy and welcomed him with a hug. Zline was worried because he was late, so Whis apologized and told her he had several setbacks. He then handed his gift to Lily and asked if she got along well with Zline. After saying she adored Zline and revealing that she had let her try pancakes, she opened the box and drooled over the delicious food. Whis was glad Zline got along well with his daughter. Even though Lily didn't call her mom, Whis told her it was normal and revealed it took him a long time before Lily called him dad. The day Lily called him dad, he cried. After she fell asleep at the franchise store, Lily was astonished to see a luxurious dress. Ori, an elf, the head designer at Fran, asked Lily if she liked it and inquired if Whis was the one who would provide rare materials. Whis confirmed it and was impressed with her design dress. He was delighted to provide her with material, but they were shocked when he told them that the materials were the Crystal Dragon horns. Crystal Dragon horns were a super rare material that she hadn't even handled. While Lily would look around to see the dresses, Oria and Whis went inside the living room to discuss the materials. Whis put the bag on a table, and while Oria looked at the materials, she froze at its authenticity and wondered if this man had defeated the dragon. She wanted these materials, but she didn't know how much they cost. As if he knew what she was thinking, Whis told her he would give it to her for free if she accepted his condition. Knowing that Fran was presents a magic dress every year, he wants her to make the dress using a crystal dragon horn. Oria accepts it with pleasure. Meanwhile, the adorable Lily is trying different clothes and the attendant can't help but praise her cuteness. After telling his daughter she looks like an angel, Whis told Oria his other condition was more important. When she finishes the magic dress, he wants her to make an identical one for Lily. Oria is surprised and asks if he is sure that's all his requests. Whis confirms it, saying they don't need much money to live, and he just wants to see Lily wearing a dress. Lily cutely asked if she would also wear a dress and inquired if she would be a princess. Whis, the supportive dad, agreed with her and said that Oria would make her the dress so she would be able to be the most beautiful princess in the world. Seeing their action made Oria wonder if they were okay. The other day, Whis and Lily went to the ruins on the outskirts of the capital. He didn't expect that there would be a place like this in the capital. Because he had never been here before, he recalled the day when Esmeralda gave him this map. saying that she wasn't the one who would make Lily's staff because they were just a clothing shop and couldn't handle crystal dragon horns. She threw the crystal to him and told him to take it to her friend, the one who would help him. She couldn't believe he had defeated the dragon by aiming at the inside of its mouth with a containment magic circle. So she asked where he got those bad ideas, but Wais didn't answer and just chuckled. Back to the present, the two arrived at their destination. Wais asked for the owner and mentioned that Esmeralda had instructed him to come to this place when a fatty drunk man answered. Wais inquired if he was Romero. Romero confirmed and asked what he wanted, knowing he was an exceptional staff maker. Wais wanted him to make a staff. He then handed over the crystal dragon horn, mumbling that no artisans could handle it. Romero looked at the item and was certain that a common artisan could not handle it. Still, he refused Wais's request and said he had already retired as an artisan. Wais told him it was for his daughter, but Romero casually responded, telling Wais to leave him alone. However, when Lily begged him, he couldn't help but agree and asked to bring him exquisite liquor. The two started to walk home, and when they passed an alcohol shop, Wais was certain Romero wouldn't be satisfied with a supermarket one. Lily asked if alcohol tasted good, and he answered yes, but when he realized something, he clarified it wasn't and told Lily never to try it at home. Wais asked Zline if there was a legendary liquor. Zline responded that there was, but it wasn't legendary. It's a liquor that doesn't circulate in the market. Her father is a sake lover, and he has his favorite sake made through a special route without sparing any expense. But she didn't know if her father would share it, so she suggested giving him a gift. In that case, Wais recommended giving this salt to her father, but Zline concluded it wasn't enough. Wais told her to trust him, and when she did, she managed to trade it for 2 bottles. She had never imagined it would work, so she asked twice about the salt because the moment her father tasted it, he started drinking as if he was possessed and drank non-stop until he passed out. Wais told her there was nothing special in the salt. It was just incredibly delicious, and he asked if she hadn't tried it. Zline was intrigued, so he suggested they drink together next time so she could see how fantastic it was. Zline agreed and then turned to leave, saying she would get back to work and would be back tomorrow. As he looked at Zline, he realized that even though she was busy with her work, she still came often. With that, he concluded that she might really be obsessed with the high elf. While walking, Zline recalled the day Wais told her to take off her glasses because she looked beautiful without them. After removing the glasses, he advised her to change them because they didn't suit her. She ordered him to give them back, but Wais dodged her hand and told her there were hairstyles that would look better on her. Zline warned him not to make fun of her, but Wais was serious and told her she was cute. Seeing her exhausted, Wais stopped teasing her and gave back the eyeglasses, knowing she had spent all her time in the library and had no energy. He advised her to play or exercise. She asked who the Miao he was, so he told her his name. Zline told him she knew his name because he was the famous student with the best grades. Wais apologized because everyone called her the bookworm, but Zline told him it was a fact and asked if he just came to make fun of her. Wais had no intention of doing that and said he just wanted to know her. He then said goodbye, telling her he would see her again, but Zline told him not to come back again. With that, this library became their meeting place, and eventually they became close. At present, she releases a heavy sigh, wondering how many years have passed since then, and she thinks it is a bit too much for her first love. Meanwhile, Wais was amazed at the effect of the illusion liquor he got from Zline a few days ago, and the mission with the staff was a success. The next day, Wais and Lily visited Esmeralda's shop to pick up the tunic. While Lily was amazed upon seeing the robe, Wais was shocked to learn that the staff they ordered yesterday from Romero was already done. The staff is used to focus and correct magical power, stabilizing spells. Most people use staffs, but Wais doesn't use one. Wais was amazed as he looked at the staff, which was made of crystal dragons. When Lily wore the robe and the staff, her dad was blown away by her cuteness. Esmeralda tapped her shoulder and told Wais that if he looked closer, he could see everything sparkle, not just the decorations, but the fabric itself has woven crystals. It is the best armor and must be the most famous tunic in the empire. Wais thanked her so much and then put his daughter on his shoulder. Lily asked if she looked like a mage, and he responded that she was the cutest mage in the world. Right now, he wants to run and show off this adorable girl to everyone in the capital, but upon realizing it would be pretty bad, he pondered momentarily. Seeing he was in deep thought, Esmeralda asked if he was worried about something. He answered that he wasn't worried but muttered many questions, asking if there would be a problem at school, wondering if there would be a commotion because such a cute girl was enrolling, and asking himself what to do if she suddenly got kidnapped when she was lost at his sight. Nastar, a school of magic, is a prestigious institution with a long history where one can receive the best magical education in the empire. Those who wish to work in the field of magic usually enroll here. Although it's a renowned school, it doesn't only accept students from prominent families. It also opens its doors to all children who want to learn magic. They teach magic from the basics, so one doesn't need to know anything before enrolling. Even he who graduated at the top of his class knew nothing about magic when he started. However, Lily is a high elf. The magic school is primarily designed for humans. There may be parts that are hard to understand for a rare race like high elf, but it would be a shame if Lily felt out of place and couldn't keep up in class. If she spends her days smiling and carefree, she will surely make a lot of friends. Since he wants Lily to enjoy her school life to the fullest, he should get ready. He commanded Lily to close her eyes because he would teach her some magic. Except for a few races, everyone is born with magical power in their bodies, but they're often unaware of it. To use magic, you first need to sense the magical power within you and receive a good education. The magical power of others is considered a foreign body by your own body, so you can perceive it. If he transmits his magical power to Lily, she'll be able to sense her own magical power. He commanded Lily to release it from the palm of her hand. Lily tried her best to follow her dad's instructions, but when nothing happened, she suddenly collapsed. When Wace caught her, she apologized for failing. Wace hugged her and told her not to worry, because it's normal for it not to work on the first try. After a while, Lily still tried her best to do magic but failed. Wace was confused because at the magic school, even students without talent could sense it after a few tries. Lily wanted to feel it again, but he didn't want her to strain herself too much, so he told her to eat. Lily became sad and asked if she wasn't going to be able to become a mage. Wace assured her she would become a great mage and then hugged her. Thinking something was wrong with Lily, he wondered if he should ask someone for help. With that, they went to Esmeralda. Upon arriving, Lily cheerfully greeted Esmeralda, noticing how she became more obedient than her dad. Esmeralda told her she liked honest kids. When Wace asked if she found the cause, Esmeralda observed the kid and inquired about how he told Lily to let her magical power flow. Wace responded that he just told the kid to let it out. Esmeralda informed him it wouldn't work because Lily has a faster flow of magical power than normal kids. If he lets her power flow slowly, she will just get confused because it doesn't match her frequency. Wace sulked and wondered if it was his fault. Seeing his action worried Lily, so she approached her dad and asked what was wrong. Wace thought he was a bad father. Not only did he fail, but he also made her feel insecure. He then tapped her shoulder, released a powerful smile, and said it was nothing. Esmeralda advised him to adjust the speed of Lily's magical power. Even though it is difficult, she knows it is a piece of cake for him. He then started the procedure by touching Lily's hand and then controlling the amount. Lily could feel better than usual now, and when she opened her eyes, she stretched forward her hand and was about to release her magic. Observing it was a powerful magic, Wace quickly created a barrier to protect the area. After that, Lily turned to her dad and asked if she did it. Wace answered in the affirmative, so she inquired if she would be able to become a mage. Teary-eyed, Wace felt sorry for making her insecure, then stated is now a mage. With Esmeralda's help, Lily was able to sense its magic. He never thought raising a child could bring so much joy, and now that he understands the feeling of being a father, he keeps distancing himself from that place. He releases a heavy sigh before leaving the house he is renting and then goes to his family house. Ever since he ran away from the capital, he has lived his own way and never contacted his family. He knows he worries his parents so much and thinks that if he shows up out of the blue, they will probably scream at him, slap him, cry, or even faint. On top of that, he has a daughter. Still, he is ready to take a hit, but different from what he imagined. His mom was just a little bit surprised and greeted him. Mom prepared some food and wasn't surprised Lily was an orphan because she didn't look like them. She then told Lily she was her grandmother and informed her that her grandfather was at work. Lily became confused and asked if Wace's mom was also her mom, while Wace tried to clarify that mom wasn't exactly Lily's mom. Mother chuckled before telling Wace he had become a good dad and that she was proud of him. Wace became irritated and inquired why she wasn't mad at him for leaving without saying anything. Mom told him she was his son and figured he would be alright. Since Zline often comes around, she doesn't feel lonely after he left home. Zline comforted them by saying she would find Wace. Mom told her not to push herself too hard, but she's been coming to report to her every week since then. She then asks her son if he really thinks about Zline and reveals that Zline is the only one who cares about him so much despite how selfish he is. On their way home, he realizes his mom may be right and wonders what Zline wants. He knew she wanted to be Lily's mom, but it all depended on Lily. All he can do is support them in getting along. When he went to Zline, the lady asked if Lily was already asleep. He answered yes and apologized. She was confused as to why he was apologizing and was startled when he suddenly came closer and tapped her shoulder. asking if she wanted to be Lily's mom because he would help her. She suddenly panicked and shouted that his action was the same as the textbook she had brought for Lily to read. She said that it should happen in the right situation and in the right atmosphere. Weiss was confused by her mumbling and asked if she cared about Lily. Embarrassed, Zline inquired if it was really okay. Weiss reminded her she was the one who suggested it and asked if she was having second thoughts. Now that she was calm, she smiled and said finally. Observing she is now smiling, Weiss finds her smile cute. Zline then asked if he had time for tomorrow. The next day, Weiss recalled what she said yesterday. She would prefer everything if he came alone. He wondered if it was a mission but became confused upon seeing her wearing casual clothes. This place her favorite because it was famous for its pancakes. He was shocked to learn that the pancakes here were too expensive, but when she told him to order whatever he wanted, he ordered a coffee and asked if he could take pancakes for Lily. Zline agreed, and they placed their order. Seeing how well served the food was, Weiss realized those 2,000 zeniths were worth it. Zline wasn't really a fan of sweets, which made Weiss wonder why she ordered them. Zline responded that she has always been curious, and since it's her favorite place, she couldn't believe she had never tried the signature dish, so she could share it with him. Weiss asked permission to eat the pancake she ordered, and when she agreed, he found it delicious and not that sweet. He told her to try it, and when she did, she realized it was really good. When she was a student, she used to check this place out all the time, but never thought she would be together with him after 10 years. After they ate, Zline thanked him for joining her today, and asked if she could invite him again. Weiss told her she could invite him any time because they were friends. He then waved her goodbye and wondered about the mission he expected when he went back. At home, Lily cheerfully welcomed him while he handed her the pancake as a gift. He informed her that this gift was special because it was from Zline. Seeing how she was thankful to Zline, Weiss thinks it's working. The other day, Zline gave him a mission about something fluffy. Zline elaborated that the daughter of a wealthy family that makes big donations to the Ministry of Magic is about to enter magic school. Even though the entrance ceremony is coming up, she doesn't like any of the robes from the capital. She's throwing a tantrum because she wants a one-of-a-kind fluffy robe, and her father has asked the Ministry of Magic for help. Weiss wondered when did the magic of the ministry turn into a grocery store, but Zline didn't get it either. Still, she can't turn this mission down, knowing that the kid wouldn't do anything dangerous in school and was treated special. Zline informed him they weren't looking for defense in the robe but rather that it was fluffy. Knowing she was in a hurry, Weiss told her he would leave right away to hunt some fluffy. A while later, before leaving, Lily insisted on coming, and knowing angel bears are cute, he let her come. His goal is to find the fluffy monster called the angel bear. It's an adorable creature with a heart-shaped pattern. It's very gentle, but that nature works against their kind. Many monsters and humans hunted them before they reached adulthood. Upon seeing the angel bear, Lily was amazed and ran towards the little bear. She crouched down and introduced herself, saying she was Lily and wasn't scary. She invited the little bear to play, and it moved closer to her. The little bears slowly came towards her until they surrounded her. Seeing how she made a bond with the bear made Weiss chuckle, and then used this moment to his advantage. He knew that Lily would be shocked if she saw him take down an angel bear, so he would go hunt one while she was playing. He was about to attack one of the bears, but Lily suddenly came, asking what he was doing and inviting him to play. Moments later, Lily was riding his dad while chasing the little bears. While Lily was so happy, Weiss was so exhausted because the bears ran faster than he imagined. He asked himself when he would catch the angel bear and wondered if this mission was harder than defeating a crystal dragon. Lily told him to keep going, but he was already exhausted, so he apologized and told her he couldn't keep up anymore. He suddenly felt something, so he shouted and saw a bear unconscious from the distance, while a silhouette of a person approached it. The silhouette crouched down and extended its hand. Seeing this, Weiss used magic, so before the silhouette could do anything to the bear, she was knocked down. Worried, Lily quickly ran to approach the bear. Weiss examined the mother bear and mumbled that it was already gone, while Lily comforted the little bear. The woman became conscious, groaning in pain. She saw Weiss and asked who he was. Weiss told her he stopped her from trying to hurt the bear. Weiss misunderstood her action because she was actually patrolling this area from a nearby village. The angel teddy bear is a tourist attraction for the village, but many want to harm it. Since the mother bear was injured, she tried to investigate. Weiss apologized to her. The woman introduced herself as Ka, so he also introduced himself and his daughter Lily. Sobbing, Lily inquired what would happen to this little bear and asked if it would be left alone. Weiss asked Ka if the baby bear would be safe in the village. Ka told him it was complicated. As she mentioned earlier, there are many who are after the angel bear. If they took in every orphan, they would never be done, since it's a poor village. That's why they decided to just patrol to prevent the angel bears from being harmed. Weiss became speechless when Lily asked to take the baby bear with them. She made this sad face and promised to take good care of the baby bear. Weiss asked Kai if they could bring the bear as a pet. Kai confirmed it and asked where he lived. She was shocked when he said he was from the capital, but after he mentioned he had a large garden, she approved their plan to bring the bear. He approached Lily and asked if she was really going to take care of the baby bear, because caring for a living being is complicated. Lily confidently said yes and promised to do her best. He sighed and stated that from now on, the baby bear would be part of their family. Ka wanted to accompany them so she could check if they could really take care of the angel bear at their home. Weiss glanced at her before putting the lifeless bear inside the magic bag. He informed her that he didn't have a problem with her idea, but warned her that the regulations in the capital are strict. If she can't get in, she must not complain. He added that he would also take the dead mother bear. Ka became excited and wanted to leave immediately, but after hearing they only use a magic motorcycle, she asked how she could get to the capital. Weiss suggested dragging her using a rope. Hearing that made Ka furious, and she stated it was a bit extreme. She recommended putting her in his magic bag. Weiss agreed with her idea, and even though he didn't know what would happen if he put a living person there, he quickly put her inside the bag without counting. A while later, they arrived near the gate. Weiss released Ka from the bag, and upon observing, she wasn't moving. Lily wondered if she was okay while Weiss waved his hand in front of her. Lily named the bear Cumin and invited it to play. When Ka became conscious, she looked around and questioned where they were. She saw the two and then shouted at Weiss, saying she almost died because of him. Weiss reminded her it was her idea to get inside the bag and offered to take her back using his magic bike. Still, Kai didn't want to return yet because she couldn't trust an amateur like him with the angel bear. Since she came here without anything, she told him to take care of her food and lodging. She then approached Lily and cheerfully went to the gate. Weiss thought she couldn't pass the gate, but was shocked when the guard let her in with a sparkling smile. Weiss became angry and grabbed the guard's collar, shouting that they looked suspicious at first glance because he had a monster and elf with him. He told the guard to do his job right, but the guard responded that he had unconditional permission to pass because it was Zline's order. Ka was amazed to see the capital for the first time and cheerfully looked at the buildings while Cumin was sleeping. Weiss asked if she wasn't tired. Lily responded that she was hungry, so he suggested eating pancakes. Upon hearing about the food, Ka was drooling and asked Weiss to let her have some. As they ate, Ka felt like she was in a fluffy paradise because of the delicious food. If she had stayed in the village, she would have never been able to eat these pancakes. Weiss told her to stop exaggerating because her village wasn't that far. Ka sighed and stated it isn't about the distance, but the money. This coffee costs 300 zen, which is the equivalent of her weekly salary from taking care of the angel bear in the village. She is grateful to Weiss for taking care of her and decides to make a name for herself in the capital and eat pancakes every day. Weiss wished her good luck, but when she ordered more pancakes, he became irritated and asked if she wasn't worried about her family. She tells him not to worry, saying her family will think that she was eaten by the angel bear. Weiss informed her that the angel bear is an herbivore at home. Lily gave Cumin a plate and said that starting tomorrow, he would eat from it. She pointed to the sofa and informed him he could sit and lie there. Meanwhile, Weiss and Ka were kneeling before Zline. Zline asked him to refresh her memory, shouting that she asks for materials, yet he brings an extra. She asked who this woman was, but when Ka said her name, Zline furiously stared at her, saying she wasn't talking to her. Afraid, Ka whispered to Weiss, inquiring about the identity of the demon before them. Weiss informed her that Zline is one of the most important people in the capital, and advised her not to dare challenge her. Thinking it was unfair, Ka cried and mumbled that being here was her dream. Weiss told Zline that Ka was an expert on bear angels. He thinks Ka knows how to process the materials since she found out what he was doing. She insisted on coming. Ka confirmed this, and said that she had been with bear angels since she was born, so Zline could ask her anything. Weiss inquired if she could take Ka to the Ministry of Magic, and when she agreed, Ka became happy and hugged the two. Zline asked him if Ka really knew about angel bears, and when he answered that Ka thought angel bears were carnivores, she sighed and said she wasn't surprised. She was not omnipotent, so she begged him not to bring more problems. The next morning, Weiss mumbled how exhausted he was from what had happened yesterday. He could recall Zline scolding Ka, warning her not to get comfortable at Weiss's house because she had prepared a place for her. He visited Lily's room but was greeted by the flying sleeper. Lily asked if he was okay, and he answered yes. Lily was gloomy as she said she was practicing magic because she really wanted to become a magician. Weiss realized that even though Esmeralda helped her to sense magic power, she couldn't actually use magic yet. Magic power and magic are not the same thing. Magic power is like the raw material. When you add skills and knowledge, it takes the form of magic. That's why school exists. Magic is a type of science. You will learn various types of magic like water and fire magic at school, and as you go along, you'll figure out what kind of magician you want to be based on your own nature. He asked Lily what kind of magician she wanted to be, and she answered that she wanted to be a magician who could help her dad. Weiss was touched by her words, so he hugged and thanked her. It made him really happy that she looked up to him like this, but it also worried him a bit. He wondered if she was repaying him for something and hoped she could find her own path, without feeling tied down. Weiss told her they would practice magic outside the capital. After a while, Lily was so happy as she tried to catch some insects. They played and had a good time. When tired, they took a break to eat the food he prepared. Lily noticed a bunny and quickly stood up and tried to approach it, but Weiss stopped her. He reminded her they would practice magic now, so they could go back home before it gets dark. He then drew a magic circle on the ground and started teaching her. The important thing is to convert the magic power. He asked if she understood how important the magic circle is and questioned if she knew this magic circle. When she answered that it was basic fire magic, Weiss thought she was quickly picking up the fundamentals of magic, even though he had just rushed through the explanation. He felt like she was just a different person a while ago, but still noted that theory and practice are two different things. Even if she understands concepts, it takes a lot of talent for a beginner to draw a magic circle perfectly on the first try. To test his teaching, he looked for a suitable monster. He saw a slime and thought it was a perfect target, but when he told her to use magic on that slime, Lily and Katten showed him this expression. Seeing that they were against his idea, he decided to skip it, thinking that they felt sorry for monsters. Weiss felt he was a bad person for taking down 2 dragons that were said to be the god's messengers. He then saw this huge tree and told Lily to unleash her fire magic towards it. Lily agreed and grabbed her wand. She made a stance and focused on releasing her magic.
So the video ends here. If you don't want to miss the next part, activate the notification bell. Thank you for watching. See you in next interesting video.